everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm RJ. I'm a union organizer, founding member of Starbucks Workers United in Buffalo. Thank you. I'm an anti-imperialist activist. I'm a staunch defender of the People's Republic of China and a member of Workers' World Party. And I'm very honored to be a part of this program today. I think the timing couldn't be better. Not just because we want to come together to celebrate the revolutionary history of China and the accomplishments today, but also to avoid a war that our imperialist ruling class here in the US is pushing on all fronts, in Taiwan, in the South China Sea, in Xinzhiang. I especially want to talk about Xinzhiang because I think that this is a region of China that is most often lied about. We're told that China is committing a genocide against Uyghur people, that they're suppressing languages, different cultures, religion. We're told that China is using slave labor. This is the common narrative. The media says that what China is doing to the Uyghurs is what Israel and the United States are doing to the Palestinians in Gaza, in the West Bank, in all the occupied land. Many in the anti-imperialist movement don't know how to respond to this. But we need to be able to tackle this head on. We can't be afraid to talk about this. So I want to talk about what I saw when I was in Xinjiang. I want to give a special thanks to Li Suhin and the China-US Solidarity Network. My comrade Sarah Flounders and I got to spend a lot of time in China, almost 2 weeks in Xinjiang. And what I saw was the complete opposite of what I was told by the US media. I saw economic development at a pace that most countries have never seen. I saw the creation of jobs, bringing in new industries, the creation of housing on a mass scale, public transportation, high-speed rail, things that working class people in this country don't even have, in the richest country on earth, the imperial core. Education opportunities, affirmative action practices, all of these things that China is doing to develop in Xinjiang. I saw grants for businesses. We talked to farmers, Uyghur families, Kazakh families. They explained that they had been nomadic farmers for generations and they have been receiving grants to open up new businesses, open up dairy farms, producing yogurt, producing all these products that they didn't have the means to. They didn't have the capital. And that's changing now at a fast pace. I saw a diversity of culture like I've never seen anywhere in the world. Dozens of ethnic groups that have shared this region for hundreds of years that call it home. I saw a diversity of languages being spoken. Children, school children, 6 years old, they can speak 3 different languages. I saw street signs, both, government street signs as well as on businesses, shops that had multiple languages listed. You've got 4 or 5 different languages listed together. These are not being suppressed, they're being taught, they're being encouraged, and people are being brought together. When I was there, I saw a communist party that was attentive to the needs of the people living there, both in the rural areas as well as the urban areas. We talked to people that explained buildings that were damaged by earthquakes, historic areas of Kashgar and other cities that had to be rebuilt, and the democratic processes that went into how to rebuild it, which buildings do we restore, and things like this. You don't see that kind of a democratic input when developers in this country wipe out entire blocks, gentrify them, turn them into condos or parking lots. We talked to people who explained during the COVID crisis how the Young Communist League was going around doing food distribution, bringing groceries to people, providing them the things that they need. We talked to people in state-run farms, little villages, that explain that the Communist Party has officers in each of these villages that checks on what people need. One example I'd like to give. We met with a couple different farmers in this village, and they explained, you know, we have these sheep and different cattle, and they get sick, and the closest veterinarian is in the city, and we can't get there. We need a veterinarian. The party took this information, they got grants together, they found people to make it happen that lived in the village. They sent them to school, they studied to be a veterinarian. They gave them the resources they needed to start up their own veterinarian practice. They're developing parts of the economy that hadn't been there, bringing Xinzhiang into the future. And I asked them, okay, well, what happens if the farmers don't have enough money to get their sheep treated? And they said, well, the government will pay for it. And I realized that the sheep in China had better health care than we have here. But this is just an example. This is many examples of development and attentiveness to the needs that we saw. And the main thing that I want to talk about, the comparison to what's happening in Gaza, we have to debunk that loud and clear. Because what we see in Gaza, we all see it. We go on social media, we see destruction, we see genocide, we see an economic blockade that's been in place for years. Gaza is an open-air prison. And what does this narrative about China accomplish? Well, it justifies US sanctions. People in Xinzhiang that want to export their products, Uyghur-owned businesses, they're harmed by these sanctions because they can't export outside of the domestic market. Western media even appropriates the language of the BDS movement, trying to claim that it's in support of the Uyghurs, and that justifies these sanctions. But the sanctions are targeting everyday working class people, not like the BDS movement that's targeting Zionist corporations that are linked to the ethnic cleansing and destruction of the Palestinians. The goal of these sanctions is to disrupt Xinzhiang, to turn people against their own government, to make the people suffer, just like the blockade in Cuba. The goal is to stoke ethnic division and separatism and try to tear apart the People's Republic of China, disrupt the Belt and Road Initiative. The same people that are spreading this narrative about China are completely fine with justifying the genocide against Palestine every single day in the news. What they are trying to do with the People's Republic of China is the same thing that they did with the USSR and Yugoslavia and every other multinational worker state that rose to challenge the power of capitalism and imperialism. And I'll be showing some of my clips from my trip during the lunch break. So thank you all for your time, and I hope you enjoy it when it gets shown. Thank you.